welcome back to Hot Mess Science. I'm Mrs. Nichols, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Sue Allen and Cameron Allen. And we're going to talk a little bit today about what it means to have Marfan syndrome. So Cam, first, I'd love to know something about you, about how old you are and what grade you're in, maybe some interests.
I am 14. I'm in 8th grade, and I like to do a lot of video games, biking, skiing. I like music, so yeah.
What are your video games? What's your jam?
Minecraft, Rocket League.
Love those. Love those. And so school, what are we looking at for subjects? What do we like?
I tend to like math. I like problem solving, so
Yeah. Math's great because there's either a right answer or a wrong answer. It's not subjective. Fantastic. So I wanted to know, do you feel that Marfan's syndrome has gotten in the way of any of these interests that you have, or kind of limited you at all, or do you feel like you're just making different choices?
It's taken away some sports I've liked to do. Like, I live in a hockey family, and I like hockey, so I wish I could do that. And there's some parts of like biking and skiing that I can't do because it might be too extreme and dangerous. So
Yeah. And what is it that keeps you from doing those? What is it about Marfan's that keeps you from doing those?
if I get hit in the chest too hard, my aorta could dissect, and for my eyes, my retina could detach. So say skiing, if I were to like go like really fast and hit a tree, then those could happen. So.
And are you able to just kind of still ski but take it easy?
Yeah, I like to push stuff, which probably isn't the best times, but yeah, so I just gotta be careful with what I do, and yeah.
Keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
So you said something about your sight, and I noticed that you're wearing some glasses. Are those because of Marfan's that you have to wear glasses?
Yeah, I had to have my lenses taken out when I was like 4, 5, 6. If I didn't, I would probably have a higher chance of being blind right now. So, yeah.
Yeah. So do the glasses just correct your sight, or?
To the most part, yes.
Yeah. He has to choose between nearsighted and farsighted.
Oh.
So there's no glasses that will fix the sight. So when he had his lenses removed, they couldn't put in lenses like they would for cataract surgery because they would continue to tear off his eye because the connective tissue just degenerates. So it would just keep fraying. So when he has glasses, he has to decide if he wants to see far away and see the board, or if he wants to see close up and be able to read. There's no happy medium. So when we try to do a happy medium, he can't see either good.
Oh. So what have you chosen?
I think we've done like one on either side of my eyes. So I've also kind of gotten in the habit of just keeping one of my eyes like half closed sometimes to like see farther stuff or closer stuff.
Oh. And is that what's worked into the glasses? Like a lens that's far and one that's close?
A little bit. It's not so drastic that he can really close an eye first, left to see far and right to see close. But if he gets comfortable wearing contact lenses, then he will be better off because then he'll be able to see and then wear reading glasses. Oh. But the thing with that, his eyes have so much scar tissue from the surgery that it's like sand underneath the contact lens. So it bothers his eyes to wear them.
That's uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good segue, actually. I'm interested in knowing, so we were talking off camera about how there are two ways to inherit Marfan's disease. One is you could have a parent with Marfan's that could pass on the Marfan gene at a 50% rate. You have a 50% chance of inheriting it or not. Or it seems as though 25% of the cases of Marfan's are a random mutation. Mm-hmm. And so we were talking off camera about how Cam is one of those 25% that had a random mutation. Correct. So I'm curious to know, as mom, when did you start to notice some of these symptoms of Marfan's? How did you come upon diagnosing him, since it doesn't run in your family?
Well, when he was born, he had an indented pectus. So we had asked the doctor, like, what's up? They call it pigeon chest. So you have an indentation in your chest. And we have family members with that don't have Marfan's. So they just thought that it was an indented pectus. And if it got problematic when he got older, they could do a replacement or add in a piece of bone. But it turned out that he wasn't able to see well. And we thought he was just snuggling up when he was like 3 or 4 or 5 to see the book better as we were reading, but he couldn't really see the book well. And we had glasses made for him, and we still didn't know he had Marfan syndrome. But the eye doctor kept saying that, oh, it's time for new glasses. So every few months we were getting new prescriptions because his lens was physically moving around, causing him to need a different prescription. So when we went to Children's Hospital to get a more exact prescription check, they said that they could see his lenses shifting while they were examining it. So the lens was actually flipping underneath the clear layer of your eye. It was actually tearing off and flipping. So he couldn't see hardly anything. So when we started getting it fixed, you're born with your sight. So you think that you're seeing the way everyone else is seeing. But when Cameron got his first pair of real corrective glasses, he looked up into a tree and he's like, oh my gosh, it's a bird. And, my husband and I started crying because all of these years he's been looking at something and hearing the bird or, and pointing it out. And then we had about 3 days notice that Cameron was going to have emergency surgery because his lenses were tearing off so badly that they were actually going to tear free of the eye and he could be blind. So
was this something that was painful for Cam when this was happening?
It sometimes is painful. Like, actually right now it kind of is, but it's just like a little pain in the back of the eye that'll go away. But it's more annoying than bad, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it would make things blurry. And now that he has no lenses, his eyes can't filter sunlight. So he's light sensitive. But his favorite sport is baseball and he likes to ski. So you're up against some glare there.
So it was the lenses that in Children's Hospital, were they the ones that sort of said, hey, there might be something else going on, like connected that to something else?
Yes. The ophthalmologist at Children's Hospital saw the lenses tearing off, which your lens can tear off for other reasons from trauma. But she sent us right away to the cardiology team. And the cardiologist that we happened to get is the head of the Marfan medical team, Dr. Ron Lacrow. He's fabulous. And it just, all things aligned perfectly. And we got in to see him in a short amount of time. And we were told it was going to be probably 6 months. And we got in there in just a week or so. We saw him. He looked right away. He saw that there was an aortic aneurysm and a dilation. And he said, well, we're going to have to watch it. He's too young to start doing the operations now because you can only have so many aortic repairs in your life. So, but he did tell us from a very young age, and he's a geneticist and a cardiologist, and he's the head of the medical team for the Marfan Foundation internationally.
So he's brilliant.
It's amazing. And but he's wonderful. He gives up his personal time. He'll call me Friday night at 10 o'clock and chat about, how to keep Cameron happy and healthy. And he gave us the great advice from the very beginning to make sure Cameron is given the opportunity to do everything he can possibly do within healthy reasons, and don't shelter him unnecessarily. Mm-hmm. So things like football and basketball and things that can be physical, if you play on a team, we have to keep him away from. But we have a basketball net here in our backyard. He can play pickup with our family or his friends if they're careful. We learned how to do like a mini Spartan, like obstacle courses. You know, Craig and I learned how to scale walls so we could be on the field with Cameron, because parents aren't allowed on the field. But we learned how to scale walls so we could be part of it, so he could be there. And, you know, that was something he loved to do. So, you know, but we can't allow him to go to a Spartan course, you know, on his own. But when we're there, we let him do it. And, you know, so we let him do it.
Cam, how's that been?
It's pretty fun. I feel like, I don't know what to say.
It sounds like mom's keeps you busy. Is there a level of disappointment that you can't do the basketball team? That you are limited to your version, or do you feel okay about that?
Some sports, like some stuff I don't care about, but then there's the others, like hockey, like I said earlier, that I would like. So there's like half and half. I mean, I'm fine with the way I can do stuff now, but only preferred I'd be able to do something else.
And I'm actually kind of thinking about like how all different people have different limitations. I'm 4'11". Like I'm never gonna get to be on a basketball team.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, there was one thing that really kind of bummed me out, is that I wanted to play volleyball. I had neighbors that did volleyball and I really wanted to. And I am a horrible, horrible volleyball player because I'm so short. So I really had to focus on the things that my physical limitations are letting me participate in.
Right. Well, I do parent advisory. Like I work with other parents, especially if they're newly diagnosed kids, have kids. And I notice a lot of people want to shelter their kids and keep them away from anything and wrap them in bubble wrap. And of course, that's what I want to do. But yeah, I'm also a very physical person myself. And our cardiologist and geneticist had counseled us very early on that if you don't let him feel like he can do things, as soon as he's old enough to do things without your supervision, he's going to go a little crazy. Yeah. So we've been letting him push the boundaries a lot, you know, and we've had problems with the school where they didn't want him to go to recess when he was little. They wanted him to sit in the nurse's office and watch videos. And I said, absolutely not. He is a kid and he needs to be outside and he needs to do things. And even through 8th grade, we're still up against that with gym teachers and, you know, the outdoor time and town league sports. And fortunately, we just keep, you know, standing up for him and saying, you know, he can do up until this and letting him do it. But I've noticed there are a lot of Marf kids that their families let them just be on video games 24/7 because it's safest for them. But, you know, I kind of feel like it's not. They're going to eventually go to college or move out of your house. And then they're going to be like, I can go bungee jumping. Because, you know, and you can. And we've told Cameron from a young age, you cannot go bungee jumping. Yeah. You know, it's bad. Your heart could dissect, you know.
I think that's good general advice for most people, to be quite honest.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But, you know, it happens. Is every connective tissue, so lungs, eyes, joints, heart, you know, all of that. And unfortunately, we're still with the Marfan Foundation doing doctor education, because if you go to a hospital saying you're having chest pains and they aren't familiar with the Marfan syndrome, that they might tell you that you're having an anxiety attack because you're not showing up as a heart attack.
On like an EKG or something.
Yeah. And they'll say, well, your chest hurts because of stress, or, go home and rest. And that's actually happened in recent years. And people have died because the ER docs aren't educated about, Marfan syndrome and what it is. So they don't recognize the sign, which is, we're currently preparing for a virtual Marfan Foundation walk. And part of what the money goes to is for research to help find out ways to handle this, but also education. So we can educate the doctors and the town firemen and EMS and things of what the signs are.
Yeah.
For Marfan syndrome. And,
I was actually hoping that we could talk about the foundation, because Cam, you're an ambassador, right? For Marfan.
Yeah.
Tell me the name of the organization.
Marfan Foundation.
Okay. And what does that mean that you're, really tricky. So what does that mean that you're an ambassador?
I think it means that I'm just more of like a leader, and it's like I get recommended for people to like look up to me and ask me for advice. And to me, it just means that my work, I guess, that we have done has paid off. Kinda.
Totally. You seem so, at ease and very level-headed about, what you can do. You're very, I'd love to see that you go for it. You're going for all the things that you're able to do, and yet you aren't, you keep in the back of your head, like, these are the things I'm able to do and I'm fully doing it. It seems like, a great thing for any kid to look up to. Yeah.
He's good. And he, last year at the Houston conference, Cameron won the Rising Star Award because our Marfan Walk team was the largest in the country. It wasn't the most lucrative, but we were definitely the most spirited because we have such a great support group of friends who love us and accept Cameron, accept all of us, but they accept Cameron for who he is, and they look beyond the disabilities and the worries and things like that. And so the Marfan Foundation recognized Cameron last year because our group was so big, and the people from the foundation went back to their home office in New York and said, like, this team is phenomenal. Like, we have to honor Cameron because he's great, and like, he's led the walk for the last few years. I was co-chairing the walk this year, but we've had to go virtual.
Yeah.
So it's a little different.
Yeah.
And
where's the walk been? Is it in Massachusetts?
On Boston Common.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and it's more a walk for making people educated and aware. Awareness. So it's not a 5K. It's really a short walk because so many people with Marfan syndrome and the related disorders can't do a physical strenuous walk. So it's a pretty short walk, but it's fun. We have a party on the common, and we have music and walk and DJs and just fun things to do. So this year we're going to do it virtually. So we don't know how that's going to go yet, but we're trying to make it fun. And
hey, I was wondering, will your team be accepting donations if this was something that, like, maybe, some of my contacts or students wanted to fund? Could I put like a link in the comments of the video?
Yes, I'll send you a link that can donate to the Marfan Foundation through our team.
Okay.
And
I love hearing their different initiatives too. Like, now they're looking at education and specifically the ER doctors and so on.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's important.
So, Cam, do you feel like this has kind of been a positive thing that's come out of Marfan's, your connection to this?
It's been both good and bad. I mean, I've gotten to help other people and like made an impact, but at the same time, it's also made an impact on me. And yeah.
We were involved with some pretty cool guys, right? You met Asa and the squad.
Yeah.
So there's another organization of car enthusiasts. They have like McLarens and Mustangs and Corvettes, and they do a fundraiser every year, and they do a thing called the East Coast Run, which to me was a very foreign idea. Like, why would you want to pay a couple $1,000s to drive around in your cool car with other people with their cool cars?
Yeah.
But they do, you know. And they made, I think, like $20,000 or $30,000 for the Marfan Foundation last year.
Wow.
And they asked if they could do it again this year. They said, you know, can we take the Marfan Foundation on again and try to make more money? So they're doing that. It's very.
When will that be?
It leaves the 21st of August, and they're riding from the Encore Casino in Boston to, I think, Philadelphia or Virginia, Cameron thinks, but it's called Squad. And a friend of ours, Asa Goldstein, who is now our friend, organizes the whole thing. And they have, you know, great events, and they rent out a racetrack when they get to wherever their destination is. And they,
wow.
Yeah, it sounds really fun. So I might go with a friend if I can get a cool car.
Yeah.
I have a Jeep. It's not cool enough to ride along with the McLarens. And
awesome. Well, I'm definitely going to have to link some stuff for that too, because I know a lot of car enthusiasts that are always looking for a good reason to bring them out.
Yep.
Cars out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was one of the big pluses last year, is we met these amazing people who are just down to earth, and we're really open to just being caring and loving to our family and to Cameron. And they brought a photo crew out, and they made a 3-part documentary ad about Marfan syndrome using our family and 2 other families that we know.
Ooh.
And for their Squad advertising. And it was just really neat. We've been meeting a lot of great people and just finding new ways to support each other and to educate medical facilities and the hospitals around here. And it's been really interesting.
Wow. You sound like a very integral part of that, Cam. Yeah. Well, bringing it back to your everyday life, I'm interested. You're going to high school now. What do you have any thoughts on where your interests lie and what kinds of electives you want to take, and maybe beyond high school?
I was trying to get into a vocational school because I'm interested in like designing stuff, and I was thinking like technical engineering and like engineering and movement and stuff like that. I didn't get into that, but the high school I am going to has some engineering classes that I think I'm gonna try to get into. So.
Mm-hmm. And what are you aiming for like after high school? What are you interested in doing?
It's kind of like, so building things that move. So it'd be like cars, planes. Like, I'm just interested in making stuff that moves. If I can make something move, like, it's kind of just fun for me. So
it kind of sounds like mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
Something like he hasn't really decided yet.
Well, you're in 8th grade now. Come on. You've got time.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, then the car show thing must be even cooler for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just doesn't fit in them.
Well, we got opposite problems, my friend. I can't reach the gas, so.
That's our big challenge, is finding, cars that he fits in, and cruise ships that he fits in, and beds that he fits in. And
yeah.
We were on Royal Caribbean, Norwegian. We were on a cruise in February, and we had a picture where his head was actually grazing the hallway ceiling. So I thought,
oh, I saw that. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't make things for people over 6 feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's
it's
6'8".
Just this range of average that everything is sort of designed for. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. We're thinking of going cross country, and we were looking at RVs, and the virtual walkthrough, the man was like, I'm 6 feet tall and I still have 3 or 4 inches in the shower. And I was Right. Well, Cameron will have to kneel down to take a shower.
It's not working for us. No.
No.
Well, Cam, I'm going to wrap this up, but I do kind of want to ask, you know, I'm sure that people treat you a certain way. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. How would you want to be treated by your peers and people around you?
I would like to be treated by like the average person, but like, yeah, like people that pretend that I don't look different, like just to be average, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think as mom, I've noticed little kids or people that really aren't that familiar with being out with different people look at him like he's some kind of creature. Like they look at him very strangely. And when he was in elementary school, kids would say mean things, you know, like, why do your eyes look like that? Like your eyes look like hamsters, or, you know, like things that,
whatever. Yeah.
you know, it's just, and it's mean. And sometimes everyone assumes he can play basketball, and he gracefully handles those things because, you know, but then he'll have had enough, you know, he'll be like, no, I don't play basketball. And he'll be kind to the people. But then when we get back home, he clearly is upset about being treated differently. Like, you know, people,
that frustration.
Yeah. So there's a level of grace that comes, and he's very graceful socially. But again, you know, you'll have that person who's height challenged, and they'll feel the need to kind of poke at him, you know, and be like, I'm a better basketball player than you. Look how big you are, and you're not good. And, you know, and those things add up, you know, you know, it's a form of bullying. I try not to say bullying because I think it's overused, but a lot of times people are just not kind.
It's just unkind. And
they're like, you're so big, why aren't you fast? You know, well, he has a size 19 shoe, you know, it's like running with flippers, you know. You can't be fast when you have a size 19 foot. But, you know, so he'll come home from gym class and he'll say someone was saying how slow he was, but he's so big, so they thought he'd be like running like a gazelle, you know. But so I think it's just, he gets frustrated when people are not nice and they don't treat him like he's a valuable person, regardless of whether he can run fast or play basketball or, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed anyway.
And Cam, those people that are your good friends, how do they treat you?
Well, I mean, just like anyone else, really.
Yeah.
He has some pretty great friends that are supportive, and they've known him forever. So they just accept him for who he is, which is exactly what every parent wants for their son.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Friends are hard to navigate in 8th grade, high school. I don't know. I would claim adults have a hard time navigating friendships sometimes.
I agree.
And to have a crew that you feel like really accept you is great. Do they play video games with you online?
Yeah. We do, like, almost everything I like to do, they do too. So
yeah, they play baseball together.
Yeah.
And ski. A lot of the same kids he plays baseball with, we ski with. And a lot of the people that we go to church with, we also ski as a family with. So we try as a family to connect to our kids, friends, families, just because we know how sensitive and how awkward this age is. Or kids are just not very nice unless they have a reason to be nice sometimes. So we try to gravitate towards families and people who are going to treat our kids with respect.
Yeah. So. Fantastic. I appreciate you sharing what your experience has been like, Cam. Thank you.
No problem.
Well, thank you for sharing your information with your class, right?
Yeah.